Welcome to the Great British Mickey Waffle. We are so pleased that you can join us for this chat with a special friend, and wherever you are in the world, we hope to bring you fun and laughter with a bit of a Disney twist.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
If you haven't experienced our show before, welcome. I'm Claire, and I am really excited about today's episode. And I'm joined by my partners in crime, Ben and John. How are you chaps today?
I love that we've been called partners in crime.
That's exactly what I was about to say there as well, Ben. I think that's it. Yeah, I think we've made it now. We've been described as partners in crime. That's it.
That's going to set the tone for the entire show.
It's taken 5 years. 5 years. And we're now partners in crime. That's it. I might need. I might need like a Stetson and something like that, so I can go and be one of them sort of Western cowboy films or something.
That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing, John. That's a different tangent. That's not where I was going tonight. But oh my goodness. It's just like, we are now in the middle of August. And as we encroach into autumn and like the pumpkin spices are starting to be scattered all over Walt Disney World, and the show is all about new beginnings, regrouping, reviewing the status quo, and moving forwards with enthusiasm and joy. So think of how many different films I've referenced in that little line. If anyone's,
I'm not quite sure. I'm not a great fan of status quo. You lost me at that point.
I was thinking more on the High School Musical end, but it's fine. You can status quo. I didn't even think about status quo as a band.
I was going to say he's more of a Boomtown Rat fan.
Yeah,
yes, he is. As you know, here at the Mickey Waffle, there has been a bit of a reboot with change to the team, new graphics, new music, a whole pile of new shows in the creation stage coming to an internet-enabled device near you in the future. So there's lots of exciting things to come. But speaking of partners in crime, when we said we wanted to have a chat about restarts and new beginnings, there was only one person we could envisage chatting to. This is someone that we are so lucky to have met when our show and the community it created serendipitously led to our introduction. And this person is joyful, creative, inspirational, and endlessly fun in equal measures. And without fail,
don't keep going on. Before he'd be leaving us before we even begin there, Claire.
No, I'm just doing the big intro. I'm doing the big intro. Let me go with it. Let
her keep saying the nice things. Keep it.
No, but without fail, every single day, I am grateful to have him in my life. So this month, we are catching up with my friend, your friend, and friend of the show, who's actually pretty much more like the furniture, Zac.
Never been described as furniture.
How are you, Zac?
I'm great. I am a little embarrassed. That was such a lovely intro. Thank you.
I had to do the big intro. It's been it's been a hot minute since you've sat with us. I think last time we saw you on the show, you were getting wet on Carly River Rapids. So,
I was right off since then.
Yep.
But yeah.
And headphones, I think, survived. Or new ones.
Everything else is
a miracle of technology.
But yeah, it's been a while. I'm trying to think how long ago that was. It was probably 6 months ago at least, if not a bit more.
Oh yeah, definitely more. I think we were talking about possibly the Disney Wish, I think maybe last time I was here.
That's been a long time.
It's probably been over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's not that
Probably
much
did
of a friend
something
if it's been a
wrong.
whole year. I think it doesn't feel that long because obviously I've seen you more recently than anybody else just a few weeks ago, and it's just at the moment where the time the podcast is out for everyone to listen to, I'll be in Orlando, John will be in Orlando, and we'll probably be hanging out, which is great.
We could potentially be hanging out in person at the time of this release.
Very meta.
This is quite.
I love that.
Quite a thought. It's and that actually is one of the things that is at the moment it's starting to play with me. In that really sort of excited way of the fact that after all these times of not being able to get across there, finally we're going.
Yeah.
And suddenly every day I've got somebody different to go and meet, and somebody And this is the most brilliant thing about it. It's just like, I'm not really going for the parks or anything like that. I'm just going to see people. And I think that is the most beautiful thing to know that after 5 years of doing this on the Great British Smoky Waffle is actually, we've met so many brilliant people, and actually to be able to go and buy you a beer, Zach, it's going to have to be one of the very, very first things.
Bombardier.
There we go. Drink some over them.
As our friends to the east call it.
Rosie Brown. I'm Bombardier, everyone.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Zac, it is so great to have you with us. And you've had some changes. We've had some changes. This seemed like the perfect opportunity for us all to get together and have a think about what the future holds. And, we've got a whole bunch of stuff every time we talk. We come up with new ideas for shows, and even
I think it's like 5 times a week we have new ideas that only happen when we're talking on a Wednesday live show. So
John has them written on Post-it.
I was going to say, please tell me that somebody's writing these down as they're
John literally has a packet of Post-it notes that he writes them down on as we're talking. Look, these are the ideas.
And I just picture John has this board, and there's all these strings looking like he's solving a serial killer case. He's just connecting them all together.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That is so exactly what I think of. Like in front of where he's sitting that we can't see. That's what's in there.
Just a massive board.
Sherlock style is. But you've had some changes. Are you well? Are you excited? I mean, what is going on in the Zac Brown world?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Am I doing well? Yeah. Lots of changes. At the beginning of the year, it's kind of funny. When you're coming into a new year, a lot of people make resolutions. I don't believe in them. I just think they're setting you up for disappointment. But I'll make a list of goals, make a list of things I'd like to get accomplished. Some of them I make super achievable, and others are my wildly beyond Big Thunder Mountain nonsense dreams.
Is that like when you write yourself a to-do list and you write the stuff you've already done just so you can cross it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I like
Make
to do?
coffee. Check.
Yeah. Woke up this morning. Tick.
Yeah.
Woke up. We're already off.
There's a lot to be said for that, Ben. There's a lot of positives in just that statement.
Yeah.
And the start of the year was very, very hopeful. I kind of had an idea of things that I wanted to get accomplished, things that I had started working on and setting into place, and big goals of in October I'm gonna if everything is as it is now and nothing changes, then I'm gonna kind of stretch a little bit and go do this thing. And then life flaps and says I have other plans. And so through a series of, I wouldn't say unfortunate, just life things happening, I left where I had been employed for about 3.5 years. And in addition to that, it was a season of, some of as part of the Here with the Magic brand, which, still amazing relationship with Jason and so thankful for that time. And I wouldn't trade any of it. But it came to a stop. And in all the seasons of life that I've transitioned out of, I'd say this is one of the most healthy transitions. And, there's the big question that I think a lot of us ask is, what next? What do I do? It really kind of came out of nowhere. It was very much out of left field, like just getting kind of railroaded. But in the moment, shockingly enough, I kind of had peace. Sat and thought about, okay, what do I want to do? I really have about 3 months till I need to start freaking out about the reality setting in. And I don't want to get ahead of if you have your questions or whatever. But so if I am, just stop me because I'm one to talk. Shocker. And different ones knew that I was in a season of shift and change. We're like, hey, are you available to come help me with this thing? Or now that you have time, are you able to come in and do A, B, and C? And there were some things I was like, yeah, I can do that. And then others, I was a little pickier off the jump, and I just went, no. I had a gentleman approach me, and he said, hey, I'm starting this company. I'm wanting to do this thing, and he had me come over for dinner. And this is a very well-off man. So he invites me over to this beautiful, huge house, this amazing dinner. And he goes, I want to show you what I'm wanting to do. And he sets up his TV and does this big production. And it was really amazing. And he goes, I want you to come in. I want you to do like graphics. I want you to do videos for me. I want you to help. And I'm like, okay. So I said, let me just think about it. And the more I thought about it, I went, I don't really want to do that. And my dad has always had this phrase, which, you know, you look too much into it, it's a bit crude. But he says, if you're not the lead dog on the sled team, the view is always the same. And I came to the point where I went and I said, you know, why am I doing all the work for somebody else's forward motion? Like, I'm coming along with them, but, you know, they're definitely getting a larger cut. So the moment, you know, I felt it in my heart, felt it in my mind. But it wasn't until I said it out with my mouth that my triune being, without sounding all too woo-woo, that body, mind, and, you know, soul all came into alignment, that I went, I think I'm going to start a company. I think I'm going to start my own business. And then I stepped aside and I went, that's insane. What are we doing? And then, you know, like the two guys on the shoulders, I always say that I have two older guys that are like these cranky, like Jewish fellows that live in a diner, and they're my subconscious, and they're the ones that like speak. And then on this side, it's like a 5-year-old, and it's like my inner voice. And it's like one of those things where this one goes, this is really exciting. And these guys aren't telling me that I'm fakakta for doing this thing, that I go, yeah, okay. And all of a sudden things started kind of clicking into place. So started, you know, my own company of doing graphics and videos and stuff like that. So that's the big thing here. So we'll bring it back here and back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to you back then. You know, things changed, and I remember us having a conversation one day, and you just went, you know what? I'm starting my own business, and I was like, wow, that's actually just the most amazing thing, because you've gone through this discussion in your brain. It felt like you've gone through days and weeks of going backwards and forwards, and then you come to this decision. And that was it. You're like, the decision's made. I'm going to do this, and it's going to be successful, and it's going to be really hard work. But I'm so clear that this is the direction I want to go. And it was incredibly inspirational, Zac. And, you know, I think that's when I said that in the intro. I really do mean that, because you know, you spent some time really considering what was going to make you tick, what was going to make you happy, and what you wanted to, you know, what you want to spend your time, your creativity and your influence doing. So, you know, I remember you telling me that, and I was just like, yes, this is awesome, because if anyone can make it work, I think it's going to be you, because you're someone who can apparently turn their hand to pretty much anything, it would appear. So I'll watch this space, and I'm sure that, you know, the business will go from strength to strength, and in terms of all the different options that you can find in terms of, you know, the projects you get involved in.
Thank you. That's very kind.
It's not, I'm not doing it to be kind. I'm saying it because it's true.
Well, I just appreciate it. I have to just, you know, just take it and say thank you.
Right.
You know, when you start having these ideas, you know, it's precious. You don't want to just start going around and just telling everybody, because you don't want to cast your pearls before swine, as it were. And so, you know, you really take these special dreams, these thoughts to people that you know are they're looking out for your best interest, that they know your heart. They've seen your journey. And I was like, this is insane. Like, what do I do? And so I shot a text to the Podfather himself. I sent a text to Lou Mangello, and I said, buddy, can we grab like coffee or breakfast or something? And we sat down at a Kiki's up the road, and over pancakes and eggs, I said,
I know the Kiki's that you're talking about.
I said, I have a question. As I laid it all out for him, and he's just looking at it with just the biggest grin on his face. And I just said, is this insane? I said, tell me right now, because I said, this is the time that I needed to know. Like, am I incredibly foolish for doing this? Or am I incredibly foolish not to do it? And he said, as you're telling me what you're looking to do, he said, I'm formulating, you need to start your own company. So he goes, this is exactly what you need to do. And let me know how I can help. And I was like, okay. Like, if Lou says this is not crazy, because I was like, you've heard 1,000,001 dreams, you know, whether it's been a momentum and whatever, that you've heard them. So if this is bananas, just tell me now, and I'll figure something else out.
No, but that, having his support as well, and being able to bounce that idea off him must be such a positive experience. And knowing that he's, like you say, he's heard so many different people come and spend time and talk to people, and, you know, to have the opportunity to just be able to go and enjoy a pancake or two. And I'm sure that is continuing to be supportive for you, which is amazing. Having the right people positioned around you to make sure that you succeed, and to be able to sort of harness that enthusiasm, but also pull you back and go, what on earth are you doing if you need to?
And to have those people helpful. That, as you're, you know, growing and trying these things out, that they're a safe place to fail. You know, if it doesn't exactly go perfect, or if it doesn't work, and they're around there to be your first set of eyes or your first clients. And for them to go, hey, this isn't exactly how I was wanting it. Can you do more of this? And there's that grace behind it, that they're not just like, oh, you're terrible. I'm going to go a different direction. You're fired. That they have a little bit more patience to just kind of walk with you through this.
Yeah.
So it's been a safe first, few months, I guess.
Amazing. And interestingly, I think that is how we feel about the people who have listened to our show for the last 5 years, that actually we don't always get stuff right, and we do get some feedback.
We've tried so many different
We have
things.
tried
over
so
the last-
many different things and gone, did we get that wrong? And a couple of times we've had feedback and gone, yeah, please don't do that again.
Yeah.
And actually this show would be better if that didn't happen again, or that did happen. And I feel really confident in receiving feedback from people who listen to the Great British Mickey Waffle or watch us on YouTube or whatever that looks like. And we get private messages, and we get messages through the Waffler's Arms, and we have conversations with various in the work terms I would call stakeholders, just important people to us. So whether that be you or Lou and a number of different people that we've created connections with, and this mysterious spider's web of community that has grown, and
that otherwise doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
How would ever our paths have crossed if it wasn't for this? And so I think that to trust the fact that people are invested in your improvement, and that you're everyone's trying to choose a good. To use a Lewism. Is that a word? Is Lewis? It's like something like toilets.
In the lexicon of the Great British Mickey Waffle,
but it kind of sounds like we're talking about
LOU-ism as opposed to a
LOU-ism. Is that how we've got to say it?
Opposed to a toiletism.
It's like one of those
Mongelloism
inspirational
is just
quotes.
a mouthful.
Right. Maybe it's like one of those inspirational quotes that you have on the toilet wall. Not one that someone's written with a pen. The ones that you have made.
For an encouraging time, call.
Something, you go to someone's house and they have all the things on the wall, and it's like that.
Yeah.
Those
those
people,
coasters you get outside in the Boathouse gift shop?
Yes. I have a whole load of those. Maybe Lou should have its own brand of those. You could, in the boathouse, obviously. But I think, knowing that there are people that are invested, knowing that the people are going to be truthful and honest and transparent with their feedback, that you can take something useful from. We value that. So I'm sure that that's also useful when you're starting your own business. I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But you're supported.
Well, thank you. It is. Yeah. When different ones have asked me about it, I said it's an amazing thing how close on the fence line, terrifying and exciting, sit next to each other. You have those moments where I'm looking in the mirror, going, "This is so dumb. What are we doing? This is stupid." Or, and then those other times when I do something, and somebody goes, "Oh, this is exactly what I wanted. Thank you. I knew you were going to do it." And you're like, okay, like it's working. And, when you have that moment where you're like, okay, we continue on another day, you don't, sometimes, you have to be pushed out of the nest to learn that you can fly, because otherwise you're quite comfortable and things are the status quo. And then, all of a sudden it suddenly comes out of left field and you go, oh, we got to fly regardless if we know how to, we think we know how to. And somehow we don't crash and burn, or if we do, we're just a little closer to the ground.
And I think that's such a real experience for us at the moment. For John, Ben, Becca, me, Robin and Simon, we are in a new iteration of the Great British Mickey Waffle, and, we are learning to fly in a different way. We're starting to do some of the tricks and the soaring above. So it's exciting. It's a little bit scary at times, but it's
I think as well, Claire, I think I'll take this beyond kind of podcast as well, and also build on that bit where you were talking to Zac about it being an inspiration, because when you're there yourself and you actually put the brakes on, or the brakes are put on when you don't expect it, and you have to go and find a new form of work or a new life or whatever, it can be the most scary moment in your entire life. And actually, I know for a fact there's loads of people who they probably listen to this, and if you're on the commute to work and probably to a job that you don't particularly like, this probably resonates more than anything else, is the fact that you can do something about it. And actually, we're all programmed to say, oh, well, as long as that wage is, the paycheck comes in at the end of the month, I can pay the bills, I can pay the mortgage, I can keep doing the same old, I'm fine. And actually, sometimes when you're thrown that curveball and you're suddenly in a position where you're no longer able to do that job, then it becomes quite the thing when you actually realize you've been conditioned into thinking in a certain way, and conditioned into, I can't possibly do anything else, because actually that's what I went to university for. That's why I went and got a degree in this. Actually, it's rubbish, because actually you can go and explore. Even when you get to my age, it is possible to reinvent yourself and actually go and do something that you enjoy and you love and you have a real passion, and actually it renews life for yourself. And I think that's, that's a bit, I think, for you, being the age that you're at, is such a wonderful way that you can actually see that, life isn't a conveyor belt, and you don't end up with this lovely little story where you just you come out of college, drift into a job, the job goes on for a bit, you go and get a better job, you go and do another job.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you get to retirement age and you suddenly look back and you go, well, where did my life go?
Mm-hmm.
What you're able to do is go, well, actually, I got a couple of curveballs along the way, and you know something. So he loved it because it allowed me to do something completely different and something that excites me. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are conditioned into, I have to keep doing this. And actually, I've lost a few friends over the past 5 years, who just can't, they can't deal with the fact that I stopped doing what I used to do. And they still do it, and they probably have to go to the doctors regularly to take some medication, etc., because it's not a healthy place to be.
Yeah.
You change. Life changes. And actually, we should be the ones who are in charge of our own lives, not...
My goodness, do you know who that sounds like? Who
I've no idea.
Who brought us all together in terms of principles and, if you have courage to pursue your dreams?
Yeah.
You know, there's
I
something
don't mean it like that.
No, I know, but I was just like, as you were talking, I was like, I could hear all these, all these Walt Disney quotes in the back of my mind, all these things about dreams, about taking risks, about adversity, and actually taking control and making decisions for yourself. I think that's a really important point. And I think
we've all learned, especially over the last 5 years, that life is going to throw things at us. And it's just, you're just not sure. In that moment when something happens, you're just not sure how to deal with it. But sometimes you just have to trust in the process and just take it one step at a time, and you never know what's around the corner.
And knowing each of you as long as I have, and the different things that you've walked through over the past handful of years, I just think about, I wouldn't wish any of these, troubles on any of you, because I care for you as my friends. But I think about once on the other side of these experiences and events, what you'll be able to do for others. Nobody wants to watch the film, like John said, of the conveyor belt life. Nobody's going to sign up or buy the ticket for that. In however many years, whenever Tom Holland is playing me in the film about my life, I want it to be interesting. I don't want it to be all dull and just
Tom Holland. He's like a foot and a half shorter than you.
They'll CGI him up. They'll make him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
They'll use forced perspective.
Yeah. That wouldn't be my first choice for you.
No.
But I think it's one of those things where it's like it allows these experiences in our life that we would have otherwise not chosen. It makes us interesting, and I think it gives us things to bring to the table to share. Be like, you know what, this wasn't fun, or this wasn't what I had hoped, or it was really tricky on the first part. And there were a lot of days, some days more than others, that you go, I don't know if we're going to get through. And then somehow you do. And sun goes down, sun comes up, and here we are again. And, fortunately, I believe it was the great poet Ringo Starr who I said, I get by with a little help from my friends. So here we are.
Yeah, indeed. So thinking about the fact that you've obviously had a bit of a change and things are going slightly differently in your life, how has it been being able to go to the parks and just enjoy them as a guest and do the stuff that you want to do? Has that been a different experience after a few years of working?
Yeah, it was funny actually. This past week, somebody had sent me a message, and it was so funny. It was just a random text that they had lost one of their earbuds up until recently, and they found it, and they sent me a screenshot of their podcast feed, and they clicked and showed me all the episodes of soundscapes that they had yet to listen to because they didn't have binaural hearing. And he was like, I was waiting until I was able to listen to it in the way that it was meant to be heard. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Okay, cool. And so it was just, he was sending that to me, and he knows where I am in life and whatever. And so I just, well, that's great. I'm glad I celebrate the return of your right earbud. And so he asked me that question. He said, how's it been? And I said, it's taken almost like some like deprogramming to be able to go in the park. I don't want to say passively, but just not on. I haven't been able to like go in critically listening to be like, ooh, that's a good. I still appreciate the sounds, and there's different times that I go, I hope Jason records that. That's a good one, or whatever. But I'm not thinking like I'm not in like reconnaissance mode. So to just to go, I just go and not have to think about it. That's nice. Like the other day, again, this is going to come out, significantly less than what, or later than when we were recording this. But, the other day was the opening day of the new Country Bears, hoo-ha, whatever they're calling it now. And I was like,
I'm not sure that's what they're calling it.
I think that should
They added more
That
words.
would be brilliant.
The advertising, that would be perfect. That.
And I was home, and I done all the things that I needed to do for the day. And I just went, oh, I'm going to go record the Bear. I'm going to go listen to the Bear show. I love it. It's opening day. I'm going to go check it out. Because I've loved that show since I was little. And I was like, I'm going to go see it. And I did. And it was amazing because it was packed. And I literally was in the very, very back row. Like always, I barely made this showing. I almost should have waited. It was crazy. And there was part of me that was like, oh, they've amped up the sound. And my initial thought was, I gotta get this recorded. It's new and it's different than it was before and whatever. And then I went, no, I just get to sit here and sing along. This is kind of nice.
Get to enjoy.
So it's, when a person is a creative, I think we're all born creative, what capacity that's in is different. But when you're a person that part of your creativity has been engaged in one venue for so long, it takes a little while to just kind of turn it off and be, you're not like a chef who's now left a restaurant and looking at other restaurants. You now get to sit and just enjoy your meal. You don't have to think about how to improve this and how to plate it differently and what sauce needs to go and what wine needs to be paired. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to point and you bring it, please. I will do nicely. So to just go back in, it is different. It almost feels like I'm playing hooky. I get to just kind of show up and be a person. It's nice.
I think that's awesome because that's how the majority of guests manage to experience the parks. And I know that has been intermittent because of what you were doing. So, I'm very lucky that I've been able to hang out in the parks with you. I know, Ben, you've had similar experience. And, John, probably very soon. Just being able to go and, have an hour or two just as a guest and having fun, and whether that be getting a margarita or riding them with the land and doing all the drum beats and the music, whatever it is, or interrupting somebody else's podcast stream. Who knows? Not that we've ever done that, Zac.
No. But I love the fact that we know exactly who the other person is thinking of right now.
So much fun. And I'm really pleased that you get the opportunity to do that all the time now.
Yeah.
Rather than it feeling like
it is pretty nice. Yeah,
that's fun.
Okay.
But you've also been hanging out in Universal quite a lot, the dark place up the road.
I have. I did a thing last year which I never thought I would ever do, and it's funny because when I did this thing, I took a picture and I sent it to Jason, and I took a picture of the annual pass that I just bought to Universal, and I sent him a picture and I went, I did a thing. And he goes, oh no. And it was great. I just canceled it because I'm waiting for, I need to let my funds be going towards this business that I'm starting up. But I'm really looking forward to the new baby that they've got cooking up. It looks pretty good.
It looks really good.
I mean, we did a couple of shows about Universal. And,
I'm thinking about it, Claire, as well, because because actually what we've basically taken it from a very British perspective, but with Zac's sort of local knowledge, can we hit Zac with the same question that maybe we've asked of ourselves over when we've dipped in and out of this, either on a Wednesday on the Waffles Wednesday live show, or when we've done, I think was it not last month, the month before, when we did we did the mid-month podcast. But Zac, seriously, I'm going to put this to you.
Okay.
Are Universal now in a position to seriously dent the visitors into the Orlando area, and are Disney now at a stage where, for want of a better word, I'm trying to think the polite way of saying this, pooping their pants is possibly the politest they can get to.
That it's funny that you ask this, because I got on and Ben and I were able to sit and kind of chat in the virtual green room about this very subject. A couple weeks ago, the time of this recording, I had gone to the Epic Universe Preview Center with children of Wafflers, son of Wafflers, Morgan and Josh, and I was already excited from the concept art that I had seen and the the videos that I'd seen, whatever. But when I walked in and they had the entire park model displayed, but not only was it that, I was telling Ben that they have it with augmented reality where you get an app and you, at certain sections on the map, you can point your phone through this app and it'll use your camera. And so say it's a roller coaster and you're looking at the model, but when you point the app with the augmented reality, then you're able to see the roller coaster move. And so the whole map kind of comes alive within the screen of your phone. It's pretty great.
How very universal.
Yes. And so
that's different level.
It's pretty cool. And it takes a minute to get to do it. You have to download. It's not like you just pull up your phone and go. But we had a blast. Morgan, Josh, and I just kind of walked around and we were like 5-year-olds. We're leaning over and butting in front of people. And we're like, look at that, look at that, look at that. And oh, that's going to be great. And I'm excited about it. So to answer your question, do I think it's going to put a dent? Mm-hmm. I would say after seeing that, I would venture to guess that Universal no longer will become a tag on to an Orlando vacation. I do feel that people will be making specific trips because this is now, 3 theme parks and 1 water park. Somebody could come and have a nice week. Yeah. Regardless of what happens, we win. And I say that as a Disney fan.
Yeah.
We win because if that pulls crowds out of Disney, that means my line waits are shorter. If people pull their stock and their time, whatever, to Universal, that makes Disney try all the harder to wow those people back. Mm-hmm. So either way, we win. And I'm really excited for what's coming in the next 5 years. Yeah. And I would really hope that Mr. Iger, who has not returned my calls in a while, and I just feel after our last poker game, it just didn't go over well. I don't know. But, the last I heard where he said that Disney has been responding to Universal for however many years, whatever, I don't buy it, Bob. When an entire park is being built of just banger after banger after banger attractions, and we have gotten reskins of attractions that we already have, and the school lunchroom that is Communicore Hall. Hey, is it going to look great at during a festival time as it's supposed to? Sure. But you gotta make me go wow. And I haven't had
to wait 5 years for it though.
Yeah, I don't get that. So I would hope that the boys at Imagineering, who I have friends that are fairly high up, that have done projects that we all know and love. And I don't say that in a brag way. It's not like I'm getting any intel or insight or whatever. Just I trust these folks to say, okay, it's like a school dance off. You got these one kids and they're like, all right, we threw down. What you got? And so now we expect Disney to come back and go,
West Side Story.
Exactly. So I need the jet to show up. I need them to show off and stop sashaying, boys. Like, it's time. Let's get out the switchblades and really be impressive here.
On the day the show goes out, D23 would have already happened.
Wow.
So let's hope that we're standing on this side going, woo.
Oh, yes. And what was interesting, on the day that we're recording this, Disney put out a few announcements that they're going to be talking about the new cruise line, the new cruise ship, the Disney Destiny. So, which is interesting. if they didn't have much to announce, they would have saved that for D23 in a couple of weeks' time.
That's a
It-
good
it-
insight, Ben.
Or are they just, I don't know. It's
No, I
interesting.
think you're right. I think that's kind of a big
And
ta-da.
it's
So
at
they
a
would
new
hold on.
location. It's got a bigger auditorium. It's going to be a bigger audience there for the sort of
Parks.
parks
Mhm.
section. And annoyingly for me, it's on at 3 a.m. UK time. So
Is that on the Sunday morning, 3 a.m.
yes,
Sunday?
3 a.m.
Oh,
Sunday morning.
So
What time
I
is
will
that
be
for you?
getting up.
Like, I'm not
I
doing
will be
math.
getting
That'll
up.
be 10 p.m. for you, Zach.
It's 10 at night, Claire.
So
We're all right.
yeah, but no, because we don't fly till the Sunday. So I will be getting up
I'll be there.
early.
I'll be there.
Yeah, thanks, John. We will be
That
here.
means John with his jet
He's
lag.
allowed to brag. It's
John with his jet lag can watch it.
Yeah,
At some
right.
point, Zach, I'm going to become really annoying with this. If I'm not,
Not at
annoying
all.
already.
Not at
no, I applaud you, man. You need to shout from the rooftops however many days you have left.
Every
can't
day.
wait.
You should be
I-
posting your character.
I can't
But
wait
yeah,
to
we'll
see
be-
you in Magic Kingdom.
We'll be at the airport,
Yeah.
and I may just. I mean, I don't sleep anyway the night before I fly, so maybe
No.
I'll just stay up and watch it and see what happens. But it's it's exciting to think that by the time this show comes out, we'll know how much blue sky is behind Thunder Mountain. Maybe they're going to make it into a swimming pool. The
Yeah.
whole area.
Or maybe they're just going to wave the white flag. Just like
Maybe.
we give up. We give up for
They
now.
can't afford to.
We
They
need
can't
to.
afford
We need to reset and stuff like
They,
that.
they need a big win.
Yeah.
They do. I actually think, and going back to your point there, Zach, though, of the fact that we are the people who win. It doesn't really matter in all of the theme park stuff.
Totally.
Given, I know Robin has shared this in previous podcasts, and actually, I think the more people who talk about it is really important as well. But the way Disney have changed the way that they actually will do the DAS pass and things like that, and actually allow people with disabilities, if they don't correct that in a timely manner, I can see what, I think we described it as taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut in some respects. But that for me seems to be a big thing that a lot of people won't go. That they're alienating people, they're winding people up, they're actually doing things that are very, very un-Disney. And at that point, Universal becomes the first point of contact for an awful lot of people. Even from the UK, they've now said to people in the UK, we can't actually pre-book stuff. So the work around that is, well, let's go to Universal, and we'll have a week in Universal, so we can book all the stuff. So when we go to Disney, we can get on quicker.
Can I tell you what's just a simple thing?
We're thinking that because we're going next August,
It's
and the
just
plan
let
is
them go,
already
though.
is to book at least 5 days at Universal,
Yeah.
before we go to Disney.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's bizarre though, man. It's just like the biggest own goal in the history of own goals.
Yeah.
But for those of a certain age in the UK, if you ever go back to, was it the Hoover fiasco where they offered free flights if you bought a Hoover, and like half of the UK bought a Hoover and a proper Hoover, and it now bankrupt the entire company. This is it. I'm looking at it as just like it's. I'm trying not to use the word incompetence, but I'm getting very, very close to it, and I actually feel that
Disney need a win. They need a
they
win. and I
do. They
think
need to ramp it up, and I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope
they need to
hope
get
when this comes out,
positivity across. They need to get us
Yes.
excited to go back
Yes.
to Disney.
Yeah.
They need to not go, oh, Disney's more, because we've had it the past few years. After the borders reopened and parks reopened, we all got used to things being more expensive. But we've gone, oh, that's Disney. Things have changed. Things have become more expensive. But then actually, when you look at it and you go, okay, I could do a week at Disney, a week at Universal. Which one's going to be cheaper and which one's going to offer me the experience that suits me?
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a lot of people that go, actually, there's a new park open down the road. I can still go to the other parks as well. And I'll maybe, instead of doing a couple of days at Universal, I can do I'll stay at Universal and just do the 4 days at Disney.
I think there's some things that, some monsters that Disney created for themselves.
Yeah.
We're seeing that with the DAS Pass. We're seeing that with Lightning Lane and different things like that. And now they're having to try to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Well, it's already out. It's not going back in. And, it's like you kind of did this by allowing these things to happen. And then you look over at Universal, that it's just kind of like they're doing their own thing. The fact that Disney is still requiring park reservations in 2024 is shocking to me. Why? it makes no sense. You know, if you say, well, we don't have enough staff or we need to make sure it's like, give me a break. I feel like it's almost one of these things we've just kind of come into that's how it's done and we don't know how to undo it until somebody just comes in and goes, hey, what if we
Stop.
just don't do this?
Yeah.
It's not going to change anything other than make it more convenient for your guests. You know, I show up to
Specifically on your
Universal.
pass holders.
Yeah. You know, the other day I was driving in and it was like 1:30. And I was like, it's not 2:00. I have to make a park pass. They're not going to let me in. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's about as controversial as I'm going to get here. It's just dumb. Is that where I just look at and so I make the pass to go in. I thought there's no reason that I had to do
No.
because in 30
For
minutes.
the sake of 20 minutes, it makes no difference, does it?
Exactly. In the 30 minutes that I'm going to stand here and then go, okay, fine. Boop.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous. And I agree with you. And I think we have avoided talking about the DUS issues as a podcast because we haven't felt that that's really our MO. That's not really where we want to go with the discussion. But John, you talked about people making a choice to go elsewhere. I don't know if it is about people making a choice to go elsewhere. I think it's about people being forced to not be able to go to where they want to go because of those changes, and where they felt welcome, they now don't. And I think that for whatever reason, you know, whether that's about accommodations, that's about changes to decision making, whether that be about the necessity to make a park pass, whatever it is. And I think that whereas Universal have gone, do you know what, we're going to steer clear of all of that. We're going to welcome everyone. We're going to build you a new park and we're going to make it cheaper. You can only make one day reservation for it, but that's okay because we'll welcome you everywhere else. And I think that we've talked quite a lot in the last couple of months about Universal and how much actually when we started pitting things against each other, I don't know how many people have listened back to our Wednesday or GB Mickey Waffle Live because we rebranded.
We rebranded. There you
What
go.
was Waffler's Wednesday? It's now GB Mickey Waffle Live. And we talked about like pitting certain attractions against each other. You know, which would you rather do, Buzz Lightyear or Men in Black? And you know,
That was the one that tore me up. I'll tell you that much on Instagram. I messaged Ben. I went, "This is
My
ridiculous. Don't you make me
heart.
choose."
and that was my call, and I decided not to even go near Toy Story Mania because that's untouchable. But you know, I just, you know, when you start thinking about the quality of the attractions, and it's like, hang on a minute, because yes, as a British guest, to go to Universal for a couple of days is really expensive. So let's not just go for a couple of days. Let's go and stay there. And that's a different option. And I think that, you know, hopefully at D23, Disney have announced some amazing things that they really need to. They really need to. Or suck it up and accept that they're not going to be the leader for the next few years. And I don't know how
I can't imagine
comfortably that sits. With the shareholders, with the executive
Well, especially
board.
with Bob Iger wanting to probably to retire at some point.
He's done it twice already. Is this the third?
It's like Kiss farewell shows. You just know there's going to be another. You miss this one, you come back in a couple of years.
But is it like Paul McCartney, where every time he comes back, his voice is worse? Is it that's what's happening? The deterioration.
Well, listen, I saw the Stones this past summer, and you know, there's certain points where you just go, you know, might want to just ride off into the sunset.
Bow out gracefully at this point. I think we might be getting to that point. But in terms of your Universal experience, and I don't mean like globally, I mean like Universal Studios. Do you think that the attractions are of an equal, better, or worse level than the Disney attractions that might be considered to be their equivalents? Because obviously we talked about it and we pitted ideas. What was it, John? You went Peter Pan versus E.T.
Yeah.
Which
could have been controversial, but actually, at the end of the day, it wasn't controversial. I think we all went with the ET.
we went with E.T.
Yeah,
wow.
and that tends to be something that, you know, even the fact that we did those shows, given the fact that we've always said from the day we started, if nobody listens, it doesn't really matter, because actually we enjoy doing this and we just chat.
Did enjoy talking.
But the numbers for those shows, when we're looking at Disney against Universal, I don't know whether someone was expecting, you know, maybe a few hundred people were expecting there to be a bit of sort of brick throwing or anything. I'm not quite sure. But some of our most amazingly listened to and watched shows because we're actually including Universal into this. And I think for us, it's part of that bit where we're reinventing, and we're suddenly becoming aware that actually, the minute we mention about further up the I-4, it's no longer the dark place. It seems to be the place where, for a lot of people, and
well, let me help your algorithm. Disney versus Universal. Disney versus Universal. Disney versus
Right.
See, I think once you've travelled up the I-4, there's so much traffic. You want to stay there for as long as you can before coming back the other way. So,
Yeah, but I can go the back way too. It takes a
Yeah.
little longer, but I don't have to worry about 4.
Don't
So to
tell
answer your
anyone about that
question,
route.
Claire,
Don't
I-
yourself, Zach. Don't tell anyone. There is a back room.
to answer your question, I would say it's different, and I think a lot of it's like your favorite Saturday Night Live cast. I think it's about when you're growing up and what you look on fondly. So not going to Universal until I was 30, experiencing something like E.T., not having enjoyed it as a 6-year-old and whatever, to go in and go, okay, I'm a Disney guy. This is the equivalent of Peter Pan for them. It has a smell. They love it. It's going to be cheesy. I just need to get into the groove of that. And I walked in. I was like, okay, there's a smell. Oh, neat. It looks like it's outside. I dig this. This is great. And then I got on this ride and went on the closest thing that I've ever experienced to an acid trip. And then it was over.
Oh, they're fun.
And I got off and I looked at my friends. I went, that was something, but I liked it. And so I think they do have some attractions that are really, really great. And that every time I'd go, I'd try to hit. And then there's others where I went, okay, did it, check. Their seats are mostly very uncomfortable at Universal. I think that they need to figure that out. I think Guardians of the Galaxy has the most comfortable ride
It's
vehicle ever
amazing.
created. It's even like the lap bar. It's just sculpted. It's like holding you.
And
And
it
then
sort
it
of hugs
says,
you all the
we're
way
going to
round.
play a nice little music for you and you're going to enjoy it. You go, thank you, ride. Where you get on like Escape from Gringotts or whatever, and you get out and you feel like you've gone like 9 rounds with Evander Holyfield. It's awful.
You end up having unexplained bruises in places you didn't know
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, but I think it's great because, Universal, they are the movie people. So I think when you do go through their essentially walk through sets that are some of their cues, it's great. I'll tell you, Islands of Adventure is hot as blazes. It's like an entire park of Toy Story Land. We're just like, for God's sakes, don't you people realize you're in Orlando? Give us some shade. But growing up a Star Wars kid, then going over to experience all the Wizarding World stuff,
Yeah.
and going like, this is neat, this is different, and just enjoying it for what they are. I think if you go in with the anticipation of it's not Disney versus Universal, you just go in with, this is different. I love Ghostbusters and I can get wrapped up in the world of Ghostbusters. But then when I talk about my fandom of Back to the Future, then I get wrapped up in my, we don't have to choose. We just go, what adventure are we having today? And so I will always love leaving a Universal park and then the next weekend and going over to like say Epcot and going, see, now this is the classier older brother of that guy back there, but still going, I'm gonna go play with that kid for a while. It's just kind of fun having the local option that I don't have to worry about saving up for this week here and this week here.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a little bit of cheat codes there. But and also the food is really expensive at Universal. Given that, I don't know what.
There you go.
It's
I
all
don't find the food as
expensive,
good. Yeah.
and it's you go to. You sometimes have to just know what you're getting into. When you go to Springfield and you're getting something called the Clogger Burger, I don't expect the Michelin folks to be reviewing them anytime soon. that's just me.
I always think of Universal like the Funkle. It's the fun uncle of Disney in terms of the fact that you're going to have a really good time that is just on the edge of being slightly inappropriate. And there's definitely more drinks than there would be in a Disney park. And that's great if you're in the market for that. And I find that I really enjoy it for all of those things more than Disney at different times. I just think, like you say, we all win. This is winner chicken dinner for all of us because actually we get to experience all the different options, and that's the best thing.
And the level of Epic Universe now, I think they can take everything they've learned from their we always say their battle against Disney, where they've Because I remember when they did Harry Potter, it was all about immersion. It's incredible. Disney responded with Pandora, then obviously Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. So it's like I'm looking forward to
Tron
Universal's
eventually.
response of how immersive Epic Universe is going to be.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Dark Universe, classic Universal monsters. That is going to be so cool.
When you mentioned Disney versus Universal, my brain sort of went to like celebrity. I can't even remember which TV show it was where they had Celebrity Deathmatch and they had like 2 celebrities. John, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it might be an age thing. And I can't even think, but I just have this vision of like Universal and Disney in a boxing ring and trying to knock.
All I'm just picturing is like Battle of the Network Stars. And it's like
Yeah.
Julia Child versus Fred Rogers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's all good. So, just to sort of pick up on something you mentioned earlier. Obviously, Morgan and Josh finished their programs, their cultural exchange programs finished today, on the day of the release of this program.
Wow.
And I can't believe how quickly 3 months have gone. And Zach, you have been like the scout leader on their cultural experience. Because part of something that I hadn't realised, and it wasn't until actually I went over with Morgan. When people say, "Did you go to America for 3 days?" I went, "Yeah, I went to drop Morgan off," and they were like, "You know, that's the most ridiculous thing ever." So I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know."
Like he's just at his friend's house. He just drove him
right.
over.
Gone for a sleepover. And he said to me, "Oh yeah, we have to do like a cultural experience in the US at least once a month, and then upload it to the CEP program so that they can see that we're actually doing something other than just working. That's what qualifies as a cultural experience program." I was like, "So what are you going to do?" And he's like, "I don't know." But then in swoops Zac Brown and takes them to the most incredible experiences. So
You're really selling it like it's been this whirlwind tour. Do you want me to talk about that?
I want to say thank you first of all for taking them to experience.
So do I, because it actually, from a parental side of things, Claire, I think to be so far away and actually know that there's somebody out there, and that's the joy of what we've actually created here, is the fact that it doesn't matter that both Morgan and Josh are thousands of miles away. It's the fact that they can actually go to see somebody that they've
leads them astray.
Yeah, and just go for that whole thing of the fact that go to baseball, go and do stuff, and then when somebody comes and checks up and says, "Oh, have you done the cultural exchange stuff? Because actually we need to fill this form in and this," and they go, "Oh yeah, that's fine. We've done this, and this."
We went to Waffle House.
Yeah, probably.
And you can still taste the bacon 3 months later.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, it had been a while since I'd been at a Waffle House, and about 5 minutes in the car afterwards, I remembered why it had been a while since I'd been at a Waffle House.
How much indigestion did you have? I mean, for how long did that live in your?
We'll talk about it.
I've never been to a Waffle House.
Oh, Ben, when are you coming?
I've never been either. And having seen
that was actually one of the things we sat there and I looked up at Morgan and I said, "Can you just imagine Lady Claire sitting at a Waffle House?" And he goes, "No." Waffle House is a restaurant for those in the UK who are unfamiliar. Waffle House is essentially, in a word, a diner. There's 3.1 billion of them here in the States. Not really, but there's quite a few. And the floor's always kind of slick and you don't know why. The food is going to be cheap. It's going to be exceedingly average. And you're going to leave full, which that's the nature of the exercise. Whether you are well and full or you're not well and full, that's kind of up to your digestive system. It's a good time. It's just about as American as you can get. So that was the first place that I took them. And I asked the boys, I said, "What'd you think?" And Josh said, "It's brilliant. I loved it." And I went, I've heard Waffle House described with a lot of adjectives and brilliant has never been on that list. Or no, excuse, I think he said impressive, which is even more ridiculous. Hopefully this evening we're actually going to be going to an American baseball game because that's about, as Americans you can get besides apple pie. They've been great. It's been so funny. I told him I was going to send them back with an accent.
Amazing. I mean, I think when I spoke to Morgan after we'd been to Waffle House, I was like, "What?" He said, "Well, you meant to go there when you've had a few drinks." I think.
It helps soak it up.
It's like the American equivalent of the kebab.
I think that's what Morgan said.
Yeah,
and we I still need to get him to a Bass Pro Shop, which is just an
What?
outdoor. It's an outdoor store. Fishing, hunting, camping, all where you get all this stuff. They have big fish tanks, and all the kids on TikTok wear the hats for Bass Pro. I don't know why. None of them have ever been inside, but anyway, I need to take them there just for more cultural significance. There's one on iDrive, I think.
They need to go to all those places.
It's fun.
What's the other? It's Sam's Club. That's the other thing that they never experienced.
I think as
Never
well.
seen Sam's membership.
I think one of the other things as well, though, is that might be quite an interesting one. If they can get themselves organised once Claire and I are out there, and we just go for the flag retreat in Magic Kingdom, and that'll tick every single cultural box
Right.
under the sun.
Yeah.
If they video it and then go to their bosses and go, look, we did this.
We did this. Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's really interesting that that's one of the requirements of their program. And I said to him,
I think it's kind of great.
I said, what sort of things do you need to do? He says, well, it seems to be anything that's particularly American. I said, what, like going to Walmart? He says, I'm sure that would count. It's just, they got to experience 4th of July, which is incredible.
I love it. They got to be here for 4th of July.
I know. I've never done that. And they went to Epcot and they watched the fireworks and they had drinks and ice cream and all the stuff that they should do. And I just think it's they've had so much fun, and I thank you really for making sure that they've fulfilled their cultural experience quota in all the important ways.
All the
and what we'll
legal
do,
things.
Zach, is we'll come and culturally sort of do all the sort of non-British stuff when we come, and we'll lead you astray.
Perfect.
Right, I can't wait till Zach comes to UK because we're going to give him all the UK cultural experiences.
Is it beans at breakfast or something like that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you wait, pasties at dawn. It'll be
There was a place that Morgan was telling me that I need to go to. It's basically garbage food, but it's cheap.
that sounds like most of
Could
the
be
UK.
a
I don't
long
know,
list,
but-
long list of.
Yeah.
He named
that.
some place. He goes, "Oh, we'll go," and I was like, "Okay." He said, "It's where you've gone after you've had about 2 or 3 beers, or you could get a pitcher of beer for like $4 or something."
Oh, Weatherspoons.
Weatherspoons.
That's it. That's
it.
All our British people are laughing because this silly American has no idea.
No,
what he's saying.
not
Yeah.
at all.
We
all know exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
Everyone knows exactly the place.
Yep,
and
so that's the one.
2 meals for a $5 and a jug of beer. And
Well, I
it's,
got to give Josh his first ever chili dog, and so I'm glad to just watch him. If you listen closely, you could hear his arteries clogging.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No,
I just they've had so
love
much
it.
fun.
And I think as well, Zach. I think that'll be an ongoing thing when we come back. It'll be the knowledge of what you've actually provided, sort of time wise, and just being there and providing that little touch of it'll be all right, boys.
Yeah,
it is as mad as it actually looks, and it actually is. And yeah, we'll go enjoy it. I'll try and.
is it crazy? Yes. Is it going to be okay? Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Also, yes.
Everyone needs that. Everyone needs that in life.
Yeah.
I think that there was a video, and I think I might even put it in the Waffler's arms as well. When you got rained out of the baseball the first time, and you sort of running through the rain, and it's just like, and it was just basically every step that each of you took, you could see the
4 feet of
trainers-
water.
Yes,
The
the train
squelch.
is just filling up with water. I think it's
Right, I
it was
could just
like-
feel Morgan's anxiety around his footwear.
Well, my strategy was to get right behind Morgan. He was basically like breaking through the waves, and so I was trying to step right in the splash where he
Like the
did.
slick
'cause it was-
stream.
Exactly. I told him I was really disappointed that we haven't had a hurricane while they were here, so they could experience what a hurricane party
There's
is.
time yet, Zach. Don't you worry.
There is time.
We're there till the end of August.
I said we could have a hurricane. And they went, why? And I went, they're kind of fun.
Excellent. Who knows what will happen in the next couple of weeks?
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
There's time. There is
That's it.
time. Florida, she's a fickle broad.
Do you know what? I have had so much fun chatting to you tonight, Zach. And
too.
new things, old things. It's been a reboot and also a bit of a reflection. And
Yeah.
I think for all of us, whether it be Zac Brown Creative Solutions or Great British Mickey Waffle, this is a really exciting time for moving forwards. And, you've got to move forwards, you've got to learn new stuff, you've got to experience different things. And I think that, having your friends around you and supporting each other is really important. So thank you for joining us today. So I'll be talking about
Thanks for having me.
all these exciting things. We are going to carry on trying to create some interesting new content. And you never know when we might need some stuff done for us. We might well.
I'm here for it.
If people want to contact you, Zac, how do they do that?
I didn't make it easy for you. I apologize. But it's ZacBrownCreativeSolutions.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can find me. I'll help you with getting your dreams into reality. You might need something as simple as a graphic. You might need social media, help, or sometimes you just need somebody to listen to as you're just kind of blue skying your dream and need somebody to just kind of give you a little bit of a push in the right direction.
Hang on a minute, Zac. Bob's on the phone.
You give him.
Yeah, Mr. Iger. Yeah.
Will
Zac
we
Brown,
direct
Zac Brown Creative Solutions. Yeah,
Bobby, I told you, open the play pavilion. It's sitting right there. Mr. Iger, tear down the wall.
It'll be your first one.
Yeah.
Sort all that rubbish
Totally
out.
should be.
You could do that in your lunchtime, Zac. That'd be it.
I've got 5 ideas for him right now.
I go back to where Claire started with this. I admire the fact that you've actually taken that step, and I think certainly when you get to my age, you look back and you actually look back and say, actually, it was just a small step, but it was a very, very brave one, and it's that first step towards taking steps of your life, and I think that for me is something that a lot of people need to recognize, and really admire you for it, and we just wish you the very best with it.
I think just to speak into that little step thing, and that in life, everything that happens in the moment feels massive, and we're comparing that up to the time that we've experienced. And I heard an interview with Jerry Lewis towards the end of his life, and he made this statement that just was so wild to me, so foreign. He said, I thought back 40 years in the past the other day, and I don't usually think back that far. And to think like that's older than I am. So to go, he thought far back beyond my entire life and doesn't usually think that far. And how many things happened in those 40 years? Babies were born, grandchildren were born, jobs were gained and lost, and all the things. It's all so big right now. And then down the road it goes, and you just kind of go, oh, of all the things that have happened in that time, so it's right now, it's big, but in, a couple of years, who knows what's going to happen? They're going to figure out how to bring dinosaurs back the way that the world is going. I don't know. Just don't let Jeff Goldblum involved. But you just have to keep cruising, and just Johnny Bench, the great Cincinnati Reds catcher of the 70s Big Red Machine, said, catch every ball. And when it comes your way, just get in front of it. And sometimes it's just like, that was a fast one. That was a curveball. Just catch every ball. And I think it's just like, don't lose heart.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not fun. Some days you are looking at yourself in the mirror with tears streaming down your face, wondering, how am I going to make till tomorrow? And then there's some days that you are standing with 10 hanging over the front of that surfboard and going, yeah, baby, this is good. This is so good. And just riding the ebb and flow and just hanging there.
Wouldn't it be boring if every day was the same?
Yeah, again, Tom Holland wouldn't want to play you in the film.
Right. I don't think he would. I don't think he would look great as me anyway. It has been a pleasure. Always a pleasure, never a chore, Zac Brown. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are really hopeful that people who are listening, maybe for the first time, will go back and find some of our previous shows. You can find everything you need at gbmickeywaffle.com. You can find us on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Might even still be on X somewhere. Don't know. At GB Mickey Waffle. We have so many things planned for the future. We have a show out on the 1st and the 15th of every month, and we go live on a Wednesday at 8:30 in UK time, 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
We have plans for the rest of the year that are absolutely mapped out. We have no idea what Ben's going to do with graphics and music, but he's keeping us on our toes, which is very exciting for us. And we have a
See,
bit of
we said earlier, like John's got his board of like what topics
Yeah.
we're talking about, got graphics and music all planned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that's on
Is that-
Ben's board, and we can't see that, and we have no idea what's coming. So, who
but
knows?
it's that creative spark as well. And I think that for you, Zach, I think is where you're at. And certainly for us as a podcast, as a live show, it's reignited a spark.
Yeah. Feels so
in
refreshed.
all of us. And
And-
when you feel like that, there's something that you get that sort of fire in your belly and you're suddenly thinking, yeah, we can do this. I mean, actually, we can bring something completely different to the table. And that's so exciting. It really is. And that's what life's about. It really is.
Yeah, I think we all feel like that at the moment, which is a really good place to be. So
Definitely.
thank you everyone for listening today. We hope you enjoyed the content. Do go back and check out previous content and sign up on YouTube or your podcast provider of choice so that you make sure that you get notifications when we have a new show out. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ben, for being partners in crime. Thank you, Zach, for being the ringleader in all sorts of shenanigans.
He's going to start
past,
singing
present,
then.
and future.
It'll be the greatest showman song in a minute, won't it?
I was thinking more like I was going Oliver, and he was a bit more like Fagin. But let's go with the greatest show.
All the razzle dazzle.
All the razzle dazzle, yes. And then Chicago too. Look at all these musical references. The musical episode will come one day, people. You wait for it. It will happen.
Wafflers do karaoke when John and Claire come to Orlando.
We've talked about doing a musical episode like Buffy the Vampire Slayer many, many times. And if
Oh
we do
my
it, Zach,
goodness.
you have to be part of it.
Oh, yes, I'd be upset if you don't call me.
But thank you. It has been a blast. And we look forward to speaking to you again in the future and finding out how things are going.
Sounds good. I'll be back. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, everyone. And only one thing left to say, I will see you soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows